I'm glad you came because it's just what this is. This podcast is sort of we talk about real things, about real life, about how we face adversity, how we deal with mental health, and so a lot of these big actors that come in, and like for me, I come from dysfunction, so of course I need therapy. I go to therapy; it really helps. And my whole life, I didn't realize I was such an anxious person and all this because of my environment.
Well, I think we all need therapy.
Have you gone to therapy?
I've never gone to therapy.
Not once.
Well, I mean, life is therapy to me.
Well, how do you learn from your mistakes? Are you just that good at saying, okay, I won't do that again?
I think for the most part, yeah. I'm not an addictive personality or anything like that. So I can let go of things when I find that it doesn't work.
And you always had this love for art.
Yeah, always. Yeah.
I mean, more so than acting?
No, life is art. Living is art. Just existing is art. How one differentiates is, I don't know that I've really spent much time doing that. Maybe I should have.
Well, you're not someone who dwells. You're not someone who has 1 foot in the past, 1 foot in the future, and kind of pisses on the present, as my therapist once told me.
No. It's too much work.
Really?
Yeah.
When you started into the business, I know you were frustrated. I read about that, where you were frustrated with sort of like, the roles you were getting and things that, because Hollywood was different and they weren't giving opportunities to black people. And it was just probably incredibly frustrating.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. I mean, but I don't dwell on things like that. I don't really care about stuff like that. I do what I want to do. And I think I'm creative enough to figure out I'm always looking for a way to make things unique. So I don't spend my time feeling like a victim.
Most people do.
Yeah, most people do, but I'm not one of them. I'm just not. For me, it's like, okay, if there's an obstacle, then I'll figure a way to get around it or through it.
Yeah.
But I'll do it in a way that gives me the advantage, at least to some degree.
Yeah.
For me, it's being innovative, and the challenge and the fun to me is to try to figure out how to do things in a way that most people are not used to seeing or witnessing in their daily lives.
Yeah, you seem like someone who never was really affected by the business. You didn't let it eat you up.
No, not at all.
You loved it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it came to me, and it's been good to me, and and it never stopped me from living. As a matter of fact, I found myself involved with people that I would, that normally you wouldn't be involved with. I mean, you end up working with people like a Paul Muni, one of the great actors this country's ever produced, Luther Adler, people from the Yiddish theater. You find yourself working with Joni Plowright and having.
I worked with her. I had a little scene with her. She was really sweet.
Really?
Joan Plowright,
Yeah,
Laurence Olivier's wife.
Yeah,
actress.
right. Yeah,
yeah, she was lovely.
Yeah, and we did A Taste of Honey together on Broadway. And you find yourself working with Angela Lansbury, spending time with Olivier. I spent a lot of time, talking to and with Laurence Olivier.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you talk about with Laurence Olivier?
Well, I mean, I remember the first time I met him, I was really enamored with him, and I didn't know what to say to him. So I ran out, I just walked up to him and gave him a kiss on the cheek. And he just got a big kick out of that.
Really?
In the meantime, I was always busy flirting with Joni.
Was she gorgeous in her prime?
Joni was never really gorgeous. I just saw her on Instagram the other day. I couldn't believe how she's like an old person who's has hard of hearing.
She's on Instagram?
But she and Maggie Smith.
Wow.
And it was another great English actress, and they were complaining about Judi Dench. They were complaining that Judi Dench was being given all of the roles, and then nobody was choosing them for these roles that Judi Dench ends up with. But anyway, I thought it was quite amusing. And Joni is sitting and going, what? She didn't understand what they were talking about. So it was pretty amusing. I asked Olivier if, what the beauty of Olivier was that as a kid, I was 23 years old at the time. I mean, and I had a lot of questions,
as an actor,
as an
artist,
actor, as a person,
right?
But certainly as an actor, And the one thing I learned about Olivier was that, he would let me ask questions. He was always asking me questions. He was always probing me, and I kept saying, and I thought, my God, this is why this guy is as good as he is. Because he's not busy trying to show the world, showing off the fact that he's Laurence Olivier. But, he was he's
learning from each human he meets.
Yeah.
He wants to learn something from you.
Yeah, he wants to learn, yeah. He was one of those kind of performers, I think, he was criticized in his career because he was not from the school, what they call the Edmund Kean School of Acting. Gielgud was more like that. From working from the neck up.
Right.
Words.
He was more about what the body, everything.
But he was more physical.
Right, physical.
Yeah. And he would always be criticized because he would do these crazy things on the stage. And people were criticizing him for it. It was like Rachmaninoff. Those kind of guys I love. They come along and they just do things that they just break all the rules.
Unconventional.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I asked one day, I said, had you ever thought about playing Othello? And he said, yeah, I thought about it. But when I think of Othello, he was saying, when I think of Othello, I think of Paul Robeson and Robeson's voice and his stature. And interestingly enough, when he did finally take on the role of Othello, and it was videotaped, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's really quite interesting, his performance. And he deepened his voice, and he went through that process. And also, when he walked around, he stuck his ass out and walked around with his ass, because black people are supposed to have big asses, right?
Are they?
And I thought, when I saw it, I fell out laughing. I thought it was hysterical because he had the courage to do stuff that broke all the rules.
Yeah.
Which made it all the more fascinating to watch him.